Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. Now, today I really want to talk about something that as gamers we all knew and loved back when we were kids and, teenagers, and that was summer vacation. And summer vacation, it was all about going to the beach and having fun with your friends and, maybe spending time with your loved ones going on family vacations. For other times, for most of us gamers, it meant gaming marathons and summer vacation. That's when we really, set our hooks into our favorite games and really mastered them. Back when the pre-internet days or what have you, we really sank our teeth into the game and got down to nitty-gritty and really mastered some of our games. So today I want to talk about 4 of my games that I really just kind of wrapped my arms around, and I had to conquer them. And I know you guys have stories too, and we'll get to that a little bit later on. But yeah, so the first game I want to start off with is, of course, the great game, Legend of Zelda, of course. Now, I got this back in, I want to say, the summer of 92 or 93. And I told the story before, but for those of you that don't know, I basically saw it at a yard sale. Another great thing about summer vacation, yard sales. That means you pick up games, you find games. Back when I was a kid, Retromat and I used to beg our mom if we saw any retro games, and this here is still the original copy that I got in 1993, and it's very near and dear to my heart. So yeah, anyways, I got this copy at a yard sale. I basically begged and pleaded my mom, who was not very happy. I basically whined and threw a temper tantrum. It was only $5 with the map and the manual. I mean, how could you say no to this face? I know I would. Anyways, so I really sank my teeth into the game, not in the summer of 93, but actually in the summer of 1996. I really sat down and I gave it my best college try. And, I couldn't beat it. Not until it was the end of summer, school was just starting back up. And basically, my buddy, I was having trouble, I think around level 6 or 7. I think it was level 6 with all the wizards. The Wizrobes, or whatever you want to call them, Wizorbs. Anyways, I can't remember which one it is. But anyways, that's probably in the first quest, level 6 is probably the hardest dungeon, one of the hardest dungeons, even tougher than level 7, or 8 really. And for the life of me, I just couldn't beat that giraffe. I think it was a 6-headed Gleeok. I couldn't beat it. I mean, I was getting fits of rage, and my buddy, one of my best friends at the time, had a strategy guide, how to win at Nintendo games. And it had The Legend of Zelda. It had both walkthroughs for Quest 1 and Quest 2. I didn't even know there was a second quest by then, which really surprised me when I actually beat the game. When I did beat the game, thanks to the guide, because I followed it step by step. I know it's kind of a bit cheating, but I really wanted to see the end of the game. You still have to do the legwork. It's not like emulation where you can have save states and all that. I used the guide, sure, but I don't think I would have found the entrances to level 9, level 7, 8, and 9. They were just so obscure. I mean, blow up, a certain wall here in some random part of the world, or, play your flute there. I mean, I wouldn't have found it. Anyways, so I sat down with this game, the end of 1996, summer of 96, and I beat it, and I was just, in my mind, I was doing cartwheels and backflips. I was so happy I finally beat it. So yeah, that was The Legend of Zelda. For those that know me, I am a huge Zombies fan. And this game on the SNES did not disappoint. It's a hidden gem. It's a great game. I actually have 2 copies of this game. I love it that much. It's Zombies Ate My Neighbor. Zombies Ate My Neighbor, a hidden gem. It's great. You play as 2 kids who basically have, of all things to defeat the undead, you have water pistols. You have a finite number of shots. You get to replenish it. You find tons of items like forks and knives and silverware that you use against werewolves, and you have bubble guns, and I mean, you have crosses that give you a force field. The game is insane. It's really fun. Basically, you have to save X number of tourists or hostages, I guess. Basically, your neighbors. And once you do that, you find the portal exit. You actually exit the level, and then you enter the next stage. And this game gave us fits of rage. You heard of Streets of Rage? This game gave us fits of rage. To this day, it's sad to say that we never ever beat this game. We made it to the last boss. I think it was that mad scientist or doctor. And his name? His name escapes me right now. Anyways, I can't remember his name. Dr. Chaos or something like that. I can't remember. But anyways, we never beat this game, but we spent an entire summer. I remember in summer of 95-ish, I want to say, or 95, 97. Let's say 97. We spent the entire weekend up all night. You know, we pulled out the an old TV. Oh my god, an old like 13-inch color TV, very, very, very small. Hooked it up into our room and we played that fucking bastard of a game, and we could not beat it. We tried so hard, and we were so crushed. We made it to the last stage, and we just ran out of ammunition. I mean, it was heartbreaking. We were at the end, and we just couldn't beat it. But Zombies Ate My Neighbors, definitely a great game. I have wasted a countless X amount of number of time playing another great zombie type game, Resident Evil 2. And I have the N64 version right here, which I absolutely love. I got it at a microplay a long time ago for, I don't know if it was in the States, but it was in Canada, and it was very near and dear to my heart. I found a ton of retro games there. I met a lot of friends there too. But I always go there, check in once in a while, and there I found Resident Evil 2. And this game blew my mind. I mean, Resident Evil 2, you know, we solved puzzles, you can play as Leon or Claire. You had 2 different types of endings, and they kind of crisscross paths, and it was just really cool. Really, the art direction and everything, oh, man, it was just a sweet game. It was sometime in the summer of in the 2000s, early 2000s. Retro Matt and I rented this from Blockbuster before we got this copy. And I beat the game, you know, and it was the last day of the rental, and Retro Matt was playing, and he was playing as Claire, and he could not finish it. He was at the last part, you know, at the train station and all that. Excuse me. I believe it was a train station. That's where you escape. Anyways, the last area, and we just couldn't beat it. Our stepdad, you know, he was running some errands, and he took the game back, and he kind of overheard us saying, Matt was so close, blah, blah, blah. So he was like, oh, okay. So he took it back, and he comes back, and he has the game in his hand. He was like, didn't you bring back the game? He was like, no, I re-rented it for you. Here you go. We were just flipping at it. It was just awesome. Really good memory of our stepdad being really nice to us. And he had pizza with him, too. So I told the story before, too. I love telling that story. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, it was the somewhere in the 2000s, and we played this game. Once we got it back, Retro Matt beat the last stage, and what did we do? Oh, let's play with Leon's story. Let's try Leon out, and we just continued on and on and on. It was just a lot of fun. You can unlock so much stuff in this game. It's really a great. It's not an overlooked gem. It's just a gem of a game. It's really great. In an older episode, Retro Matt kind of reminded me of a long forgotten memory. Back in 1992, we had this neighbor who lived way, way, way down the road. We lived in the country at the time. And I'd say we were about 8 or 9-ish. And so, yeah, 1992, our mom and I and the Retro Matt, we went down the old gravel road. It took at least 20-25 minutes to walk down to our neighbor, because that was the spacing basically. And we go there, and it was one of our friends from school. They invited us over, and her mom and our mom were friends, and they chatted while we played games. And it was, I believe her name was Julie. I don't remember her as much as I remember this. We go into the room. We were done, just playing outside, running around. It's like, hey, you want to play Sega? I'm like, Sega? You mean all those, that company that was just being mean to Nintendo and saying those awful things about it? Like, yeah, you want to play some Sega? You play Sonic? I'm like, Sonic? Oh my god, I've heard about Sonic. Never really played it until then. And there it was, the Sega Genesis, and it, I believe it was 1992, 93, was Sonic 2, and let's just say that was one of the best afternoons ever. We sat down, Retro Matt and I, our video game hogs, so we hugged the controller. We didn't really let her play, it was funny, but she didn't mind. She was probably playing with her dolls or something, and the boys were playing the video games, but we just sat down and we played this game for hours and hours and hours on end. It was a great afternoon, probably into the evening when we left, and we were, being called back to go back to home. We didn't want to go, and we were begging and pleading to stay or come back and do this again next weekend, but unfortunately we never got to. But I remember that in my mind, just seeing the Sega Genesis just sitting on the floor with the 3 buttons. That was another thing. It was a 3-button controller. Oh my god. You know, I was used to the Nintendo, you know, the 2 buttons, and or even the ColecoVision with its funky gamepad. I never liked the ColecoVision gamepad, the number key and the little joystick. I didn't like it. But the actual gamepad itself, the Sega Genesis, was just so awesome. It was huge. I couldn't believe how huge the Genesis controller was. But yeah, I mean, at the time, I really didn't like the joystick, the control pad, but I got used to it real quick. And my days of Sega bashing were over. I was a fan of both Nintendo and Sega. A lot of people, a lot of kids, at the playground would choose. You know, you're either Sega or you're Nintendo. But no, I didn't do that. That was just dumb. I wanted the best of both worlds, and that was my very first experience with not only Sonic the Hedgehog, but the Sega Genesis. So guys, that about wraps things up. This is the Max Impact 24 channel. Thanks for tuning in. In the meantime, in between time, and oh, by the way, give me a video response of your best summer vacation gaming memories. Tell me the games you were playing and just specific memories. I'd really like to hear from you. So comment below, do a video response, and in the meantime, in between time, take care.